right, how's it going, guys? So, I'm going to talk a bit about fear and love in our current times. So, fear exists in the mind, it doesn't exist anywhere else. It is a mind generated thing for human beings to experience fear. Fear and the mind is connected to our egos, to our ego identities. So our ego is mind generated, and we identify with our mind, we identify with our ego. Our life is about how we think about life. It's not how our life actually is, it's how we think about it. And we confuse our feelings with how we think about things. So how we feel about our life is really how we think about it, because we don't feel a certain way about life. We just live our life, and we have feelings and emotions that come from that, but it's not like a feeling about it necessarily. I mean, maybe that's not true. We can have like a feeling of gratitude and love about being alive, or like a sense of dissatisfaction in what we're doing. But a lot of that is also influenced by our thinking. But the thing is here, the big trick that's been played on humanity is that we value the mind and logic and ego so much more than the heart. That's the big trick. And that's what's dying. The heart-basedness is coming back, and we don't know how to handle it as a community, as a society, as a species at this moment. I mean, at least collectively, a lot of people are stepping into that, like that divine feminine energy, the healing of the mind, the wounds. But I think that's why there's been so much chaos. That's why the coronavirus is here, all this politics, all this stuff. Because if you do an EKG scan on your heart and your head, the heart is 500 times more powerful, I think. It has a 50 to 500 times bigger electromagnetic field than the head. And that's from a machine, a 3D machine that we have on Earth. So we're heart-based beings. The heart is a lot more powerful, but we've been tricked with our minds to value the mind and not the heart. So feelings and emotions and intuition, like when do you learn about intuition? We're focused on IQ tests in school and learning about math and science and fake history and stuff like that, but we don't learn about emotional intelligence. We don't learn about forgiveness in school. We don't learn about listening to our emotions, our intuition, and really tuning in. And we don't learn about communication, like how we say things and how it might affect people, because most of that is teachers projecting their own shit onto little children. And, creating this abusive school system that is, basically it's amalgamated upon how many students graduate and how many students go to college and how many students get jobs out of that college and stuff like that. It's not about what's your value of life, what's your experience, are you happy, are you actually happy, stuff like that. So that's the thing. The heart is love, the heart is intuition, and love is speaking your truth from your heart. And the ego is the mind, the ego is thinking, and the ego is unsatiable, it's unfulfillable. That's why there's so many people that have billions and billions of dollars, and they need to have billions and billions of more dollars, and then they say, well, I need power now, and they want money, they want sex, they want to do all the crazy shit, like all these fat cat people, these elites. That's why they exist, because they're in their egos, they're in their minds, they're not in their hearts, they're disconnected from God, which is what they really want. And the ego is trying. So what we all really want is to just be happy, to be fulfilled. And that is to be reconnected to God. So like a lot of men are looking for their purpose, but that's usually coming from the ego mind. like, oh, I want to be a dating coach, or I want to be an actor, I want to be a comedian, I want to do this, like I was doing for a long time, trying to fulfill that because I was trying to make a lot of money. I wanted to have a lot of women, blah, blah, blah. And other good stuff too, like I like making people laugh and all that. But all those kinds of things are like a misdirected, an indirect way to really, what we're trying to do through our ego desires is to get back to God, is to feel that connection to source energy. Because we've all come down here in these bodies to have this 3D experience, to get these 3D lessons, and to transmute all that to get to source, get to that feeling of oneness, get to that feeling of love. So in knowing that your purpose is to wake up to the truth of the reality of we're all one consciousness experiencing itself through different bodies, then you can find your actual, your outer purpose. As Eckhart Tolle would say, and your inner purpose is waking up to the truth. So that's why we're all a lot of people are just so unhappy and in the fear and in the misery, because we're all chasing these egoic desires that we think is our purpose, which is really other people's agendas that they've put onto us, that they've convinced us is our purpose. We think that we're supposed to go to school, get good grades, and get a college degree so we can get a good job, so that we can find the wife and have the kids and get the money and go on nice vacations. But people are fucking miserable when they do that. A lot of them are, not everybody. Some people, that's what they want to do with their life, but other people think that's what they're supposed to do, that's what they think is going to make them happy, because they're disconnected from their heart. We're not trained, we're not conditioned, we're not programmed to just listen to our heart, which is the initial program. It's the original program, the love program. We're taken away from that, that's stripped from us. Our authenticity, which is love expressing itself infinitely, to placate to this agenda, to go to school, to get good grades, to do what you're told, to become an employee, to become a worker bee, and work off all that debt that you acquired from going to college, from being sold this dream that somebody else sold you that isn't true to your heart. Maybe it is true to your heart. Do you really know? Do you really fucking know? I don't know. Maybe you don't. It's not taught. You have to figure this shit out on your own, or with other people that have figured this shit out. So we got our hands full right now. There's a sense of urgency to wake people up so that we can all start creating the new earth together. But a lot of people are just going to fight and kick and scream because they're too in their ego. And if you're too in your ego, you just keep going further and further and further into your own ego. And then your logic becomes your own logic that isn't your logic, but it's ego's logic. It's the fear logic. It's the fear thinking going deeper into itself. And I've been experiencing this with people in my life to where I can't reason with them. I can't explain myself. I can't give my point of view because it can provoke a reactive, angry, aggressive response. So I tend to avoid these people, or I just let them speak and I listen and I just learn and I hear what they say. And it can be upsetting, it can be sad. And this is kind of what it looks like. This is kind of what I've been hearing about and what I've been, predicting in a way of, the ego mind, the logic-driven, completely ego-based, logic-based thinking way of being in this 3D reality that's been going on for I don't know how long, 10,000 years, is dying. And this is what it looks like. It looks like it's looping in on itself. That's what we all do. We all have thoughts. We have ruminating thoughts that circulate over and over and over, and they don't solve anything. Worrying doesn't solve anything. Nobody ever solved the problem by worrying about it. Yet we all sit and lay in our beds at night or in the morning, waiting to get up, thinking about our problems. So there's a sickness that has been instilled into society, which is that our mind is the most important thing. We're obsessed with, fucking math problems and shit like that, and technology and all this stuff. And it's been a trick that's been played on society. When all we really need is love. If you look at a newborn baby, that's pure love. That's pure expression. Okay, it cries when it's sad, and otherwise it's happy and smiling and just being. One time I was hanging out with my nephew and my nieces, and my nephew just said to me, he was like 5 at the time, he said, "I love you, Uncle Luke." Nobody taught him that, to just say it randomly. He just felt it, so he said it. Little kids, when they're sad, when something bad happens, they cry because they're sad. And they're letting out their emotions, and they're purging them so that it doesn't get stuck in them, so that when they're 27 years old and somebody does something that triggers them, they don't yell at them. If we could all, purge out our emotions when we feel them, that's ideally how it would look, I think. When we're sad, we cry. When we're angry, we yell. Not, "Don't do that, stop that. Don't cry. Oh, you little baby, you gonna cry?" That's how the wounding happens. We're sad, we cry, somebody shits on us for crying, and then we say, "Well, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to be angry next time. I'm going to yell at them. I'm going to tell them to fuck off. Don't fucking say that shit to me, motherfucker. I'm not going to cry. I'm not a baby. Fuck you." That's in the head. That's fear. That's separation. That's having to protect ourselves. We live in an unsafe world emotionally. You go on Facebook, social media, it's just people pissed off, angry. "Fuck you, how dare you say this, you worry, man." Bunch of wounded children walking around as adults. That's the reality of basically every single person who hasn't done the healing work or the shadow work, who are just living unconscious to the fact that they're probably running programs that were created from their childhood when, they couldn't express themselves and it was trapped inside of them. So, yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's good. That was a good little rant. That was fun. Nice. All right, well, hope everybody enjoyed that one. And choose love. Don't choose fear. We have a choice. We have free will. That's basically one of the biggest universal laws on earth, is that we have free will. So everyone's fallen for this trap of you have to wear a mask because it's the rules or it's mandated. And really, we're the ones who hold the key to our freedom. We're the ones who hold our own sovereignty, the key to our own sovereignty, and we have to step into our power to claim it. The government isn't going to give it to us. I guess we'll see how this whole vaccine stuff plays out, man. Because apparently you still have to wear a mask, you still have to socially distance. Businesses and shit are probably still going to stay closed, but they're like, roll out the vaccine, roll out the chemical collection of experimental chemicals or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know, man. I'm going to read you guys a quote again, if I haven't done it on another video. This is from Rudolf Steiner, who was an Austrian philosopher from 1861 to 1925, and this quote is from 1917. "In the future, we will eliminate the soul with medicine. Under the pretext of a healthy point of view, there will be a vaccine by which the human body will be treated as soon as possible directly at birth, so that the human being cannot develop the thought of the existence of soul and spirit. To materialistic doctors, we will be entrusted the task of removing the soul of humanity, as today people are vaccinated against this disease or that disease, so in the future, children will be vaccinated with a substance that can be produced precisely in such a way that people, thanks to this vaccination, will be immune to being subjected to the madness of spiritual life. He would be extremely smart, but he would not develop a conscience, and that is the true goal of some materialistic circles. With such a vaccine, you can easily make the etheric body loose in the physical body. Once the etheric body is detached, the relationship between the universe and the etheric body would become extremely unstable, and man would become an automaton. For the physical body of man must be polished on this earth by spiritual will. So the vaccine becomes a kind of araminic force. I'm not sure what that means. Man can no longer get rid of a given materialistic feeling. He becomes materialistic of constitution and can no longer rise to the spiritual. So we are living in a society, we're living in the aftermath of that kind of thinking. Potentially, probably. Feels right to me here. Yeah, but we're strong. We're stronger than all of this. We're stronger than all these reptilians who have been harvesting our energy for thousands of years, because we are part of it. We are part of this experience, and we're here to learn these 3D lessons. That's why we incarnated into human bodies on this earth, so that we could be here during this time to reign in the new earth, to reign in humanity, to reign in the 5D. Bring it in, baby. That's us. That's the light workers. That's the star seeds. That's the people who are black sheep. That's the people who get shit on for speaking their truth and going against the mainstream narrative of, the sick society. It's not a virtue to be conforming into a sick society. Stand on principle alone, even if you stand alone. Stand on your principles. Do you value honesty? Do you value truth? Do you value love? Or are you a slave to fear? Or other people's opinions of you? Or what you think other people's opinions are of you? Or what you think other people will think of you? Because we don't know. We have no fucking clue how people are going to react to us. When we go into a grocery store and we're not wearing our mask, they could just not say anything. You could just have a genuine conversation with them, or you could just do your shopping without it on. We're convinced. We convince ourselves that life is the way it is because people get so stuck in their ego minds that they think that they know the future. They think that they know how vaccines work. They think that they know how masks work. They think that the news is actually telling them the truth. And I'm not saying I know what vaccines are really doing or masks are really doing, but what I've heard and how it makes me feel. And, I'm going off that. I'm not just going to comply. I'm not going to give in to the fear. I'm not going to give in to people pressure me. Just wear your mask. It's not a big deal. I don't fucking buy it. And there's not a lot of men out here in Chicago or in any places. And maybe there are. I just haven't met them. But I see a lot of fucking people, buying into this bullshit. And when I hear them speak, I'm like, well, it makes common sense would say that it doesn't hurt to wear a mask to not spread the virus. But to me, common sense would say if you're wearing something over your mouth and nose, that is restricting your breathing. And you're breathing into it over and over. That's your carbon dioxide recycling into your body. You're not getting the fresh oxygen without a cover, which is probably covered in your own snot and spit. And if it's a hot day and you're running around in the hot sun and you're sweating, you're getting maskne, you're getting bumps and shit on your face. That's common sense to me. I don't know. I mean, I do know, but hey, I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to buy into that. Fear, that's fear. That's logic folding in on itself infinitely, ego folding in on itself infinitely, justifying the bullshit that you're telling yourself because you're cut off from your heart. You're cut off from your true self, your spiritual self. We all know that there's billions of planets out there and billions of galaxies, and 4% of that are planets and stars, and 96% of that is dark matter. It's darkness, dark black emptiness that is forever expanding. And we think we know what the fuck's going on in this life. We think we fucking know because the logic and the ego and the fear will go infinitely inward into its own destruction. Yet existence, yet reality, yet our true nature is infinitely outwardly expanding. And we think we know what the fuck's going on. We think that, there's a virus that is going to kill everybody, so we need to wear a face diaper. That's what the fuck is going on here. People get mad at me. And I'm like, people don't see this. And me saying my truth is threatening to their ego bullshit that they're identifying with. So, yeah. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Till next time.